Welcome to the Unapologetic She, a place for you, a place for me, which means it's a place for us. I'm so glad to have you here. You know, there are some things in life, you just make decisions. You make them quick. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know how you're going to look, how you're going to feel, and you just make them. And then one day you look at the decision and you're just like, you know, that was dumb. And my decision was really dumb. Dumb. But it's okay. And listen, y'all, I just need y'all to know I am not trying to come for homegirl when I say any of this. But sometimes you just really, like, some people, when they start your service or when you go to them, you have no clue how long they've been doing what they're doing. You don't know, what the ins and outs are. And she really had me convinced that she was about to boom, boom, slay. Don't get me wrong. They looked really good. But outside of that, it's kind of like, why did you tell me this was going to work? Like, permanent means forever. They're gone. Do you see them? All right. So I started my Loc journey in September of 2019. So it's been a year and some change that I've had these locks. And let me tell you something. These locks have transformed my entire life, okay? When I say not putting locks in my head, but growing these locks out has not only helped me with my confidence, it's just helped me, live my life to the fullest. Because who has time? Who has time? Detangling? All of that great stuff. It wasn't for me. So back in 2019, I was scrambling. I'm like, I want to do something new with my hair. I got to get something, cute done. And I always wear braids. I've always worn braids, twist, whatever, protective styles there were. And for a while, I'm just like, I just keep doing this thing. In undergrad, I would always have my hair in 2-strand twists. So naturally, I was used to the look of locks, so to speak. So one day in 2019, I'm like, hey boo, talking to my boo. And I said, I want to get locks. And he's like, no, you don't. You don't even know. And then I ended up finding someone online, hitting her up. And I think maybe a few days later, I had Loc Extensions. Now I'm going to insert a picture somewhere around here, so just be on the lookout for it, of what it looked like when I got it. The young woman that did it, she gave me 2-strand twists or rope twists. She kind of instant locked my hair, combined the Loc Extensions with my natural hair, and boom, I had my locks. The first day out, I was sitting there feeling myself. I mean, I was walking around flipping the things, swinging them, and it came to just about right here when I untwisted them. And eventually it was just like, wow, I can't believe that I'm locked. And they looked so real. Like, when I say they looked real, they looked real. But y'all, Loc Extensions are great for people who aren't used to the look of locks, are great for people who really don't want to deal with the ugly phase, which we'll talk about later. People who just think, let me get some length on his head because, them little lock things, you might not be used to that. You might not like that too much. And so I was one of those people. I'm just like, there's no way that I'm going to go from having my regular hair, being down here to having these little locks that are about this little, who has time for that? So I was rocking them. It was cool. And then around December, locks just started falling out, y'all. Like, now, if you know about Loc Extensions, you know that Loc Extensions are very expensive. They can run anywhere from $500, depending on the quality, to like your rent. Over $1,000. Okay, so this is not a cheap service, and all of a sudden they just started falling off. So I'm hitting up the girl who did it, and I'm like, hey, I really need to fix these because 1, I spent almost a stack.
You what?
2, I spent almost a stack. Those are the only 2 reasons. And I just wanted them to look good. So she went back in, she tried to reattach those Loc Extensions, and let me tell you, they just kept falling and falling and falling. And eventually I was like, you know what? This is not the life I want to live. I want to be cute 24/7. I don't want to be cute sometimes. So one day, me and my husband went on our anniversary trip. Shout out to him. And I came back home and I cut them all off. And now you're probably wondering, why? Well, let me tell you why. So here's a picture of what my locks looked like when I had the Loc Extensions. And here's a picture of what my legs look like after I got the loc extensions, or after I cut the loc extensions out. So if you can see, thin versus not so thin. And why is that important? Because when you get loc extensions, your natural hair, depending on the thickness, depending on the length, depending on your texture, is going to change. So naturally, when my hair started growing out, when my locks started getting thicker, those loc extensions were about 2 inches wide versus, or they were about 1 centimeter wide versus like my very thick locks, as you could see, and as you could see in the pictures before. So long story short, which is not really that short because clearly I'm still talking, I cut them off. I had to get rid of them, and it just, to me, didn't feel as authentic as it would have if I would have just started with comb coils or 2-strand twists or whatever the case may be. But I don't regret my decision. I know that I was, in a part of my journey when it was just like, I'm trying to get used to something, I'm trying to settle on something, I'm trying to get my look down and get the vibe that I want for myself down. And it was a beautiful thing. But let me tell y'all, if you were to ever say, hey, would you recommend loc extensions? For me, the answer is no. Why? Because you never know what's gonna happen with your hair. Like, locks are so unpredictable. Mine were thin, and then because I have thick hair, as the hair continues to grow and as it just continues to, attach itself to locks and get wrapped up, like, it just becomes thick, so you don't know what it's gonna look like. I am so happy that I cut them off. I would never go back to, anything like that. Even if I cut these off and start a new set, let me tell y'all, this is gonna be it. Like, I'm dealing with this and this only. Like, it was a stressful process. So here are a few things that I learned about having loc extensions. Number 1, make sure whoever's doing your loc extensions is using 100% human hair. There should be no fillers. There should be no random, like pieces of, I don't know, hay. Like, seriously though, make sure the hair is pure, it is human, you can dye it, boom. Number 2, make sure that if someone advertises to you that your permanent loc extensions are in fact permanent, they are not using the wrap method. The wrap method will not ever combine with your natural hair, which means your natural hair and the extension will not merge together to create a beautiful lock. And most likely when you wrap the hair, it creates this shiny look, and that's never going to blend with your natural hair. And baby, we don't want that. Number 3, make sure you do your research. Unlike me, who's very quick to make decisions, I decided to go quick, and I'm not saying that it wasn't a good experience. She was great, her vibe was cool, but at the same time, I didn't take long enough to research, and if I had, I would have just twisted my itty bitty locks, or my hair, right on up and just let my hair lock on its own. So what do you think about loc extensions? Let me know in the comments. Have you had loc extensions? Are you thinking about getting the loc extensions? If you are, cool. If not, also cool. Do you, boo? I like to mind my business. And because we don't play small, when I get to 200 subscribers, I will be having a giveaway. That's right, the sweatshirt that I had on in my last video, I'll be giving one, and I mean one, of those sweatshirts away. You can pick your color, you can choose whether or not you want my beautiful face and these beautiful locks featured on your sweatshirt, or you can just get the Unapologetic She sweatshirt. If this picks up like I think it will, because God is always on my side, maybe we'll start selling some merch. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment so that you can become a part of this team, okay?